phones that haven't been addressed, and we're looking for answers on what we're gonna do here.
Well, we're just wondering if we could get by the study period and maybe get something going to rectify the problem that we have down there.
Okay.
And we were wondering if you people have been doing some work with the MNR, and what's going on there? What's.
We met with the M&R, Councilor Scott and myself and staff, to see what options were available, whether there was funding, and they recommended one type of funding that we have applied for and have gotten in the past. They were bringing that up as if it was some new funding, but we have already utilized some of that funding. They don't fund equipment, I believe was the message they gave to us. Councilor Scott, do you have anything to...
It was a wiki fund, is what it's called, and ABCA has applied for it in the past. They basically had no money to offer us. They went through and looked for things. They're still looking. However, unfortunately, there are no grants available, and there's no money in their budget at all for rivers. Our river apparently isn't, this is their quote, not ours. Our river is not apparently the only river that is having problems, aside from the Grand Bend as well. But there are other rivers in other municipalities and other areas that fall in the ABCA area that are having the same difficulties.
Okay, well, if the Grand Bend River has problems with debris and stuff like Port Franks has, it's gonna be cleaned out immediately, and it always is. Respectfully, you know, there's other boats there, there's sailboats there, there's stuff. They need the channel. It's done instantly. You know, we pay a lot of taxes here, just as much. And I've paid taxes in Ramp Shores, both Grand Bend and Port Franks for a lot of years. And it's not fair, so I don't buy that at all. And I want some answers on how it can be cleaned out. You know, it's a safety issue now, so it's not a matter of getting funding, it's a matter of doing it. You have to, you know, respectively, you have to maintain safety.
Are we going to have this discussion after the delegation about what we're going to do, or are we going
Yeah, I was looking for more of a presentation on what you felt was...
And, well, on a safety point of view, I had just bought a property, actually, here's a prime example. I bought a property this spring, or June, whenever it was, this year. The people that sold me the property told me, you know, you're buying a property on the water, but you have to know that you don't have water usage. There's trees, there's everything else, there's no water in front of your house. And I looked at it and I said, okay, well, you know what, this can all be rectified pretty simple. I had called the town, actually I think I was talking to Carol McKenzie. I said, who do I need to talk to because I'm gonna have all this removed? I said, do I need permits for this? Yada yada, who do I gotta call? I need permits, I want this removed before I move into the house. I talked to the owners, the present owners at the time. I said, I can have some equipment come in here to do it from shore and have this removed. And they had no problem with it. I proceeded to call the municipality. He said, well, you have to get a hold of the Savo Bayfield Conservation Area. I called, I spoke with Alex and Andrew. That's no problem. We just asked to clean up anything that's under the water for the boats or whatever. I said, I'm not worried about that. I said, but I do operate a marina, so I'm not gonna leave anything underneath the water for boats to hit or whatever. There was 3 big trees that were in that property for over 3 years. And they're right, there was no water there. But within a month of cleaning the full-grown trees with roots, everything else, now I have full waterfront. I have water in my backyard, and it's that simple. And it's just debris, it's safety, it needs to be cleaned out of the river. If a tree fell in the Grand Bend River, it'd be cleaned up. That's my point. And
One other, yeah, sorry, Joe.
it's gone on too far, and it's like, ooh.
With regards to our river mouth, we have a boat that we've nicknamed the Pumpkin. It's been in there for probably over 20 years. We've had it. Was purchased to keep our mouth open. Supposedly there was a contractor from Grand Bend to keep the mouth open this year. with regards to, with a smaller tug. And I believe that the small tug was not big enough to keep that open for us. And it is filled in bad. And we have a major thaw in the spring. All the trees in the river jam up down there. We're gonna be in a deep doo-doo down the river. I have pictures here of my backyard in Walden North subdivision, where it came up about 12 feet off my basement entranceway. This was a few years back with one of the floods. So I've seen this. I've been up here for 34 years, and I've seen many floods. And I haven't seen anything, a little bit of a Band-Aid fix here and there, but nothing, you know, every year, like a maintenance program to, okay, let's clear out the deadheads, so it can flow out. Let's get the mouth cleaned up. You know, why can't we bring our pumpkin back onto service?
You're talking the north side?
The north side, yes.
The north side,
Making sure that-
Yeah, I'm sorry,
the north side will not fix the problem at the channel.
yeah, I think it's
A
so
long time ago, Paul Turnbull's uncle, I believe it was his uncle, that had it drag link, and all pushed back up on Chicken Island, and that's, the north side will not clean out the mouth of Fort Franks to the extent to how much the mass of sand that's there now. I was on the dredge boat the last time I went out to try and get out to clean out the channel. They cannot get out there, and the sand that goes from the beach, or we'll say Christine's, the restaurant at the mouth of the river, to the flashing light, there's not a blowboat that'll blow that sand that's 2 inches deep. There isn't,
No.
okay? And it's right straight across. And in that regards, and thanks to Storm Sandy or whoever it was, the big storm, now, if you drive down through the conservation area, you can see full-grown trees, roots to the stem, right where it always dams in Port Franks, sitting there. Now that the water's dropped down to where it is, where its normal level is, or low level, this year, it's all the ingredients for, and it's gonna flood bad, and it needs to be removed from there. And on top of that, there's no exit for the water and the ice this year. It has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with before it freezes.
something has to be done.
Or else there's gonna be a lot of damage to places where aren't in the floodplain.
Councillor Russell, comment?
Yeah, Bob communicates with me regularly, I guess would be the simple way. I call him the mayor of Walden North, but anyways, he seems to keep a good eye on it, and others along that river. And this year we argued successfully to get $15,000, that little bit, in to do a little maintenance, and that was hard to get in at budget time. You remember that? And that $15,000 was spent primarily to deal with a couple of ridges within the river, right? But I think what we've done is with the low water and going back to what Joel's saying is we're really back to the point where we had with the old harbor committee when they had to bring in Mr. Turnbull with the drag line so that the north side could actually operate after we acquired it. So really we've got to that point where you almost have to literally go out there and bring in, either put it on Chicken Island, which I'm not sure if that's possible, or take it out with the drag line and truck it away to the appropriate source. We got to that point, I think Joel described it quite correctly, the low water, but also the lack of maintenance. The maintenance we've done in the past 15 years has been, I won't even say minimal,
Yeah.
because it's been zero. I asked many times about getting trees out of there, and I don't know how many times Bob and I talked about this, and we don't have anything in a budget because we don't have an operational budget. I've been saying this for 3 years. You know how many times I've repeated it, Mr. Mayor. We don't have an operational budget for it. Councillor McGuire, a couple of weeks ago, put a notice of motion in that we put together a comprehensive plan for Grand Bend as well as Port Franks. Well, I think the point is both of them need maintenance. They need regular maintenance. It has nothing to do with low water. It has to do with a lot of deadheads in Port Franks that have been accumulating for 15 years. The fact that those deadheads eventually are going to snag on underground wires, the fact of the safety matters, and the fact that we do have an ice jam study that we seem to go and talk to the M&R about. We do studies, but we sit on them. And we've been sitting on them for 35 to 40 years. We sit on things very well, and I think it's time that we made a budget that said that it's a comprehensive plan.